Hey guys, here we are. I'm so excited. Here at the Healthy Hustle podcast, we want to talk about all things business, but we also want to talk about how to be healthy in our own life so that we can truly change this world. And today, I am interviewing Dr. Maya. Not only have I seen her, and yes, you have to, of course, come and see her if you are in Boca Raton, but she has also worked with my family. We have seen her for acupuncture, NET, which many of you guys ask me, what is NET? And Maya will, of course, be answering that, but you have to go see her website, which is right under this video or this audio if you're seeing this podcast on iTunes. Dr. Maya is going to be diving in today. We're going to be talking about so many topics, and I'm not even going to dive into literally all the areas that you cover because I'm just going to have you tell us everything that you do because it's pretty extensive. I mean, literally, I could be like, she is an acupuncturist. We've done food testing. We've done genetic testing. We've done, right? I've done laser treatment on my shoulder. I think the list. So can you literally laundry list it and also just introduce yourself?
Okay, thank you. Thank you. First of all, thank you so very much for having me on the podcast. Your podcasts are awesome. I was listening to them and they are very helpful. My sound is good? Can you hear me okay?
Awesome.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so yeah, I'm very glad to be here. About the laundry, it's a very long laundry list. We're not going to go through that. There will be a link that will tell exactly what's going on. See, it's like my patients. I'm so sorry. I have to just silence my phone. Okay, so
it's all good. Guys, and yes, this is what it's like when you are trying to help. So that's why I love that Dr. Maya is here, because one thing that she and I have in common that many of you do as well is the world does need a lot of support, not just during this time, which is an unprecedented time, but really at every time. And Dr. Maya and I were talking yesterday that it is a really beautiful time right now because lots of people who may have said, hey, it's health and it's God and it's immune and it's genetics and it's transformation and it's metaphysical work are all now saying, Dr. Maya, where are you?
Yeah, it gets real. It's real now. Real, it's raw. Oh, people's emotions are coming out. It is a difficult time. At the same time, it's a very beautiful time of transformation. But okay, so I'll tell you about me. I have a long laundry list, but what it really is together is an integrative approach to health. An integrative approach is I'm an acupuncturist, licensed acupuncturist, extensively trained in functional medicine. And functional medicine are the state of the art via chemical medicine. So I bring East and West together in one treatment, diagnostics treatment and approach, and also body, mind, and spirit also together. So it becomes a well-rounded approach. So each person always have all the components to their health. It's always a physical, structural, it's nutritional, detoxification, emotional, and spiritual. I call it my 5 pillars. I always look at it at the same time. And I like to learn. So there are many things that I learn all the time. And now, especially with a time of such a great need, I also see people online. I have a virtual clinic and I opened my text and my calls to all my patients to my cell phone, just in case if they need something. And I always answer, except at this hour, I will not answer. I'll call them back.
One of the things that I know many of us who we hear the word functional medicine, and I think even for myself, who we see DNA testing, nutritional DNA, we hear nutrigenomics, these words in this world. But the one thing that I know for many people is we lose sight of the transformational work. Mm-hmm. We lose sight of the work. And even when I came to you, and many people who know me for being that very stubborn person, you and I would always, talk about that deep inner work that often keeps us stuck, the blockages in the body. And so, yes, this is a really tough time. The trauma, the PTSD, the work that often stops us from physically getting better. So can you talk about what, in your opinion, is that transformational work and what sets you apart?
Okay. And this time is important because even though people worked on their problems, and we all have emotional traumas from the past, even if it's not like trauma, but little things that stop us from achieving what we want to do, from doing our life work, for achieving our destiny. It all comes up now because there are so many limits that instead of going outside, we are forced to go inside. And when we go inside, we find a lot of stuff that has to be transformed. It either has to be dwelled upon and become very difficult to deal with because it can uncover trauma, or we can choose to start working with it and find the best possible us. So what sets me apart?
Yeah.
What sets my work apart is that I believe that no matter if you eat amazing food and if you do amazing exercise and if you take all this bunch of supplements, but you are not doing inner work, what I mean is that resolving internal conflicts that are stopping you to achieve your goals and to become more authentic yourself, which we're probably going to talk about. Authenticity, it's so important. And authenticity in this real way. It's not about sitting in a lotus pose and, umming. If it's not who you are authentic, maybe it is, but a lot of people are not. It's about being you with all the best values and the best behaviors that you can do, really, truly and honestly, without deception. So doing this emotional work is not easy, but there are tools that allow us to do it. And neurolinguistic programming, the way I practice it, is a very therapeutical personal transformation. Being a doctor helps a lot because I can see, with experience, I can see traumas that can be even caused by physical issues, not only emotional, because they always come together. There is no separation, physical, emotional, spiritual. It's all together. We are one person. And also neuroemotional technique is a fascinating, very fast way to actually figure out what is a conflict in the body, in the mind, when this conflict then originated, what is the emotional aspect or multiple emotional aspects to this conflict, and actually clear it from the body all in one session. Of course, it might not take only one session, but it is very fast and it works on a psychosomatic level, NET specifically. And of course, we do tapping as a EFT, also has to be done very in a right way. Sometimes people come to me and say, Dr. Maya, I did the EFT, it didn't work. I say, okay, let's do it. Let's do it together.
What is the big difference? Because I've actually been asked this and I didn't know the correct answer. So if I didn't know, I usually don't answer, because somebody will say, well, Rachel, what's the difference between EFT and NET?
Oh, it's a very big difference. It's a completely different modality. So EFT works with acupuncture points that you yourself can tap while saying a very specific affirmation. Yeah. The thing is that they have to be very, very precise because there are acupuncture points. Sometimes people come and they do something like this. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Are you doing
No, people go all over the place. They talk. I'm like, no, okay, we have a lot of acupuncture points, but these acupuncture points have a very specific explanation, very specific. We call it a spirit or energetic of the points. And what they do, they break the habitual thought process. It's a thought. It's actually not even a path. It's a thought process that can be also associated with a physical condition. So it is very useful when it's done properly. And when I teach people how to do it, they do it and it works. But neuroemotional technique is different because it's a combination of 5-element acupuncture principles, psychology, conditional behavior, chiropractic techniques, and homeopathy, all together in the same modality. It's been created in the 70s by Dr. Walker, and there are not many NET practitioners in the world, but we all, I think, create magic there with our patients. We love it. We all love it. We do it.
And if I'm correct, it was something that you fell in love with for even yourself.
Yes, yes. That was my entry point to healing, because in my first life, previous life, I worked on Wall Street. I was a software engineer and I worked on financial markets. And at the time of a personal crisis, I discovered neurolinguistic programming. So I did do NLP training. And then I had an experience with an NET practitioner when I realized that I have different calling and a different meaning of life. And that was my entryway to start looking to become a holistic practitioner. And my school of 5-element acupuncture and a modality that I'm trained in, I do multiple kinds of acupuncture. There are probably 5 different kinds, but the 5 elements is the base training, and it's also an amazing transformational modality. So that the decision to do 5-element acupuncture came from NET, because it's a transformation. When you are transforming from the limited self to unlimited self, right? When you find, it's a transformational virtue, we call it. So when you find your virtue, when you find your destiny and you feel it because now it feels right for you, then there is a road to actually get from point A to point B, and you know what point B is. And it's a beautiful journey. No journey is easy. Every journey is difficult. But when you are doing with your heart, then it becomes a joyful journey.
I think I was like, oh, wow. This really just flowed so beautifully into really pivoting, because when we're talking about authenticity and talking about truth and talking about going from, this Wall Street to now, I think it's such a great segue into really sharing with people, because I know even if somebody's living their truth right now, mm-hmm. There's not one day that we're all in times of uncertainty not feeling like, wow, how am I either going to reinvent myself, or maybe there are people that are having to reinvent themselves right now, or having to, face their own inner stuff that feels a little tough. So can you walk us through some tools, some steps, some things that we can do, no matter if we feel that there is stuff going on or not stuff, that feels like maybe it may feel a little mucky. I think that's the word that I keep hearing from people. People are like, I just feel, and I'm like it's mucky. And they're like, yeah, there's not even a word. I think that's why I even feel like speechless about what word even describes right now, because it just feels like something's on the horizon for a lot of people.
Well, I will say it's a muddy waters, because it's a time of uncertainty. And when even though some of us live in a truth, we live in the truth and we walk the path of our past, but the condition changed. Conditions change all the time. Every moment we are a new people living in a new conditions. We never know what can happen next minute, or in 5 minutes, or in a year. We can plan, and I am all for planning and creating our life vision boards and life books and all of that. But we always have to know that conditions can change. Anything can happen with us, with our loved ones. Now with entire planet, it started with all these fires last year. And they said that is wrong thing. Something is happening with the planet. Lungs of Amazon, like lungs of a planet or Amazon was burning then, and now it lungs of people. It's very metaphorical. I choose to, and I always share with my clients and with everybody who I know, that we should look at life metaphorically and symbolically. Everything is sort of a metaphor for you, like lungs and lungs, right? It's a breathing of the planet, it's a breathing of us. It's walking on a path. And what is the path? Is it the path of your heart? Is it the path for your career? How you can look at, is it actually a real path that is blocked for you. Like Feng Shui talks about it, right? How we Feng Shui our house is it's our environment. So now in these times, when we look at the planet, and planet is not what it used to be, or we didn't see that. Like right before this podcast, we're talking about how you look at something and you don't see it, and boom, you look at it again and you see it, and like, how didn't I notice it before? Like I was walking yesterday in my neighborhood, and I have never seen so many families walking around all together, uniting, saying hi on a safe distance, somebody in mask, somebody are not, little children. Environment changes, and we got to figure out how we live our truth, even if we live our truth in a changing environment through the muddy waters that a lot of things we're not in control of. In fact, we pretty much nothing in control of except our reaction to that stimulus, reaction to the event, internal reaction, and also behavioral reaction, what we do. So when people now are, and my patients and the new people also coming to me with something new happening with them, something that was sitting there for 2 months and uncovering, and they were in a deep realization. And I'm sure our listeners can relate to that. It cannot be just people who call me. It's probably a lot of people right now going through so much change in the environment that a lot of things are being challenged. And I think what I shared with you, Rachel, at some time ago, one of the models that I use is a logical levels. If logical levels of Robert Dilts, he is one of the NLP, really good NLP practitioners. And it's a logical level, like imagine like a pyramid. And to the lower level is an environment. And then it's your capabilities and your abilities, then your behaviors, then your belief system, then your values, and then there's you, your identity. So it is a pyramid, and your identity will what you think who you are. Like say you can think I am a healer, or I am a doctor, or I am a mother, and there can be many identities. But right now, I think for all of us, the identity is I'm a human being. What's happening to all of us? It's such a uniting thing that like we are not different that much. Yeah. Virus can attack you, it can attack me. Political situation can attack you, can attack me. Economy is crashing, it can attack anybody. So your identity will influence values, behaviors, and capabilities and environment that you're creating around you. And usually our work that I do with people is on this direction, from who you think you are, and then we'll see what are the values, what are beliefs, what environment you are creating. Sometimes we work with the environment because people got to get themselves out of the toxic environment. That happens too. Or dangerous environment. Right now, environment is changing so much that now very often we start with that. So with this environment, what are the beliefs, values, your behaviors, capabilities will define who you are. And when you know who you are and you know this environment, what's happening with what you truly believe in, how this belief system will support you through these muddy waters that we are walking through. Now, there is no time or no space for you to say, well, I don't know who I am. I don't know if I should take care of my health or not. I have a lot of time. Now, we don't know. We are giving evidence that we have to take care of our health as much as possible, especially of our emotional health. Because without emotional health, immune system will not exist.
And also we can't even make the decisions. I mean, you and I we were having a conversation the other day about those who do need to make decisions and pivot for their business, or make decisions quickly, as many of us have needed to, whether it's decisions about, financial situations, decisions about even in our home for our children. These are decisions that we've all, I believe, have been forced to change on a very fast, level very quickly, whether it's teachers, anybody. And I think because of that, as you said, we all were pushed into a fight and flight very quickly. And what comes out of that, and I think I would love to hear from you, for those who are at home, for those who feel that their environment is stable, even though their times are uncertain, that they just feel stuck, that they can't step into those possibilities. How do they start to be able to see I remember, let me explain it like this. I remember there was a day where I felt really stuck. So I said, you know what, Rachel, go for a run. Just go and see that the clouds are still moving. Go, and even though nobody was out, not one car, not one person, I just needed to see that things were still moving. And I started running and I started crying. Just because it was just that moment that I realized, okay, the world hasn't ended. And I know it sounds ridiculous when I say it out loud, but it was just to feel the pavement pounding, because I'd been in the house for 3 weeks. So if you could even just give, like, here are these tips, because your newsletters, as I said to you when I was like, Maya, come on this podcast, are so to that point of here's just simple ways that I've always told you to boost your immune, to take care of yourself, to get sleep.
Okay. So what are the tips to do, right? Because everything starts with awareness and feeling. Now, you are a very kinesthetic person. You have to touch, you have to move. Not everybody's like that. There are a lot of kinesthetic people. There are also people who are visual. So visual is a main primary sensory modality for these people. And there are people who are auditory. So they have to listen to something, to understand it, to learn it. So I will give tips for all of it, okay? So awareness that you are still who you are is important. There's no time for a conflict in you. So I would like listeners to just write down a list of internal conflicts later on, just put a note, internal conflicts that they have, because conflicts will stop you from achieving something, right? From making a decision, any kind of a conflict, like, you figure it out, the conflict.
Well, it just anything, and I think this is, I will just add this. What I just want to point out, even before we go on, is what you said earlier, because it was so beautifully said. And sometimes when we're in convo, I call it like the green juice convo, is that you said, each one of us is different in finding the way that feels really authentic. Is that you love to dance. You love to dance, and that is the way that you find your expression. And I love to have a Zen run, and that's the way. But it's like finding the way that really feels right for each one of us. Some people, as you said, love to ohm it out. So
there are techniques. I'll give you some techniques. So one, and you probably listeners heard that, the gratitude. Now, how to do the gratitude correctly for different modalities, it's a different thing. Gratitude for people who touch, who feel, it's actually getting out there, putting your hands on the ground. I did some shamanic training some years ago, and for me, it was amazing. So you put your hands on the ground and you feel the warmth of the ground, and you touch the tree and you feel that force that's coming from the tree. It's a life. And you are a part of it. We are part of this ecosystem. So we got to be in this gratitude for this always here for us, for now, for this moment, because it's right now. We got to stop thinking about long, like, I don't know, even few days. Right now, how to get yourself in a state of gratitude and presence, how to be really, truly present right now is for the people who can touch. It's this touching thing. For people who like to hear, It will be telling to yourself what you're grateful for. Now, being grateful for something really cool and good is easy. I'm grateful for this and for shelter and for water. How to be grateful for something that doesn't feel good? How to be grateful for previous trauma that you had? It's an art. What did it teach you? So you can be grateful for that. I'm grateful for right now people are outside on the street, and I'm grateful for these kids screaming there because they're kids. It's an affirmation of life. For people who are very visual, gratitude can be going outside, and I think it's one of the Hicks's exercises, and I really like it. When you go and you find something beautiful and you look at it, and what are the 5 beautiful things about this beautiful thing? And then you do it again and you do it 5 times. So it's all these techniques is to bring you to present time. And when you feel the appreciation, your authentic self comes out from you. Because like little kids, they are very grateful for themselves, right? A baby is like so fascinated with their body and environment. And then we become too limited because we judge. So this is about how to drop a judgment about yourself, how to drop a judgment about people around you, and about overall situation. It's an external and internal process. It also coupled with the forgiveness practice. Forgiveness, it doesn't mean that you accept what happened with you and you say that's okay. It is about, it's your own internal work of forgiveness, that I forgive this person because I want to be free from that. I am actually free. And NET work helps a lot with that, as we know. It might not be easy, but it's good to start. Maybe we can start writing a list of events and people that we need to forgive. This time of a high crisis is a fantastic opportunity for us to dig deep and see what is the cleansing that we have to go through. Cleansing is happening, unfortunately, tragic, but it's an opportunity. As I said, it's a metaphor. That big cleansing that's happening for us, we got to cleanse the toxic from us. And being not unforgiveness, not being grateful for very little things will hinder the progress, hinder of authenticity. And for everybody is different. So I'll say people who say, oh, I cannot meditate. And some people say, oh, I meditate every day, and they don't actually. They just say that. Because like I don't like sitting and meditating. And I know if I don't like it, I have to do it. So I make myself to do it. But my meditation is walking on a beach. Beach is closed, right? So this is an interesting thing. Beach is closed. I cannot walk and meditate. So I walk around the neighborhood and kids are screaming. And I'm like, I cannot meditate. And then like, no, you know what? I actually can, because kids are screaming is an environment. It's like waves are making this wavy noise and the kids are screaming. It's all affirmation of life. Of course, I'll meditate, I'll blend into that. So that I would like to suggest how to feel yourself a part of the healthy ecosystem that you, by yourself, being you, will change. That is a transformation. It's not that things, you have to transform something or things have to be transformed. How you, being an essential part of the ecosystem, will transform not only your life, but the entire ecosystem. Right? Because when you know, you have an experience, everybody here probably know that when you changed, people around you changed, events changed, everything changed, and you're like, what happened? Nothing really. You just changed and you created the opportunity for things to appear and become different. So these little things as a meditation to feel yourself as a part of a whole, gratitude, forgiveness, that little things, even waking up in the morning and the very first thing, you open your eyes and you immediately say, oh, I like this bed. I like this pillow. I like it. I'm awake. This very, very first moment, I would like you to try that. Or when you brush your teeth, you can say, oh, I have teeth. A lot of people don't. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for my teeth. So these little things. It's a good opportunity to do that right now.
It's so, I really think you nailed it so beautifully with the part of hearing the children, because
Mm.
I've always heard, and that was when I asked you, you know, what makes you different in teaching how you approach transformation. And I know that you just explained it, because it's very difficult when we talk mind, body, spirit. It's extremely, extremely difficult. And I know that because there are tons of coaches who I know who really struggle in explaining. And you did it so eloquently. And I will refer every coach to exactly what you just said, because it's in how you explain that. Because I've always heard people say, well, I help people to transform, and I help them to move past it, and I help them to let go. And it's not, it's actually the opposite of what you just said. It really is. Even for me, I just sat there and I was like, I don't even think I'm going to ask anything more in this podcast, because it really should end here. And then I thought, and tonight, as I make s'mores in Florida, I am going to burn about 100 books that I have in the little fire and have a bonfire, because I don't think I need another book. I think that is everything that I didn't understand. And I say that, as everyone knows, I am brutally honest, because it's that I too always thought it was it was transforming around, instead of to realize it's in the being in, it's in the flowing to be within.
And you know what happens when you do that, when you transform and everything around you transforms, and you feel this inner joy, no matter what, because you feel so much appreciation to life. There is no way this joy will not radiate and transform with joy everything around you. So the whole ecosystem will become joyful. So now you live in a happy, joyful place. Of course, we have issues, right? We will go through tough times, but I think happiness is a choice. It's everybody's personal choice, every day and every moment. So I appreciate that you you recognize that.
I think what's imperative during this time, and in you know, as this is a time that we are exactly one. And I talked to a coach last night who is in London, and he doesn't have a job right now because his job can't exist during this time. And we were talking, and I said, isn't it really amazing that we're actually all one right now? It's not a US thing, or an Ireland, or Germany, or a Costa Rica. We're all one. We're, as you said, it doesn't matter what color, what age, what gender. We are all one, and it's an opportunity, just as you said, and not but, and there's only going to be change when we adopt what you're saying. And the beautiful thing is that it does start in our home, and even more as a choice individually, which is even that much more powerful and simple.
And I can give one little exercise, because with these children who are laughing, right? So if you next time you go for a walk and you see children laughing, become these children. Just imagine you are them. And then you see a tree and you imagine you are the tree. For a bit, for like 3 minutes, 4 minutes. And then you see an old person walking and you imagine you are this person. So you connect, you become them, because we are all one. We are not separate, we're all one. So when we become energetically so connected to each other, it's like a big net. And we all are interconnected. There is no independence. We are all interdependent. And right now, it's very obvious. And energetically, we are interdependent. It's a beautiful thing. It kind of puts a responsibility on each of us, but in a good way. It's like, oh, I choose not to think this thought. I choose to work on myself because I can be laughing like these kids. And I haven't done that, you know?
And we all can change the world. I mean, I think that's the beautiful simplicity. And the reason I was laughing as you were talking is I thought, oh, you mean the gratitude list I was told 30 years ago to say, I'm grateful for my leg. And I remember somebody saying that to me and I was like, I'm not going to say I'm grateful for my leg. And they said, why not? You have a leg. There are people that don't have it. And I thought, I so don't like this yoga, meditation, whatever thing. But it isn't even that. It's really embodying. It's being grateful for everything that we have at every second, at every breath, at every moment.
Yeah.
Can you tell everyone, and please guys, I will preface this by saying that Dr. Maya does teleclasses, teleconferencing, everything. And I personally did it and it's really neat. And so please let everyone know where they can find you, and everything of course is in the show notes, guys, but can you just let them know as well?
Yeah, so I have physical location in Boca Raton. Now it's half closed, and I missed my patients a lot. So, but for years now, I've been working as in a telemedicine. So I do telemedicine, and through that, I work with emotional detoxification, emotional healing, behavioral repatterning, modification, such NLP. I do NET. I do spiritual counseling as well. So, and a lot of work with emotions and behaviors. Also online, I do second case studies. So if somebody is underdiagnosed, undiagnosed, misdiagnosed, self-diagnosed, so we do that. I read tests. I do functional medicine as that. I do a consultation online, and then I can send lab tests and can send somebody to like a blood test, saliva, urine, whatever is needed to be done.
DNA.
DNA, yeah, DNA is very important.
Hair.
Yeah. Well, my website is Dr. Maya Clinic, drmayaclinic.com. It will be in the links, and there will be linked to actually one page where everything is sort of listed, and you can click on it and you can go to my very, very extensive website where everything is listed. And Rachel is laughing because I have like a long list of things I do.
Guys, I'm only laughing, but please know, for everyone who is listening, who is a hormone coach, a fertility coach, a functional medicine coach, a mindset coach, an emotional eating coach, plus you have 10 other things that you have accomplished, please know you can do all those things. Just be specific, because many of you think, how can I have this all? Well, of course, you are like Dr. Maya. You are a complete geek and you love all those things because you keep searching. So you're not alone. Find the woman, be on her list, get to know her. She's no different. That's why I hang out with geeks like this woman.
I do specialize too. You know, I don't do everything.
No.
I specialize in conditions. I specialize in chronic fatigue. I specialize on a brain performance, which is repatterning of behaviors and all of this stuff. And I do help athletes, high performance athletes, to become elite athletes through all this testing and nutrition modification. So, but brain performance, mind, emotions is a passion of mine. I love this, like this, because I'm like that.
But I would say, and guys, no, we're not getting into a whole nother podcast, but but there's also, I would say, when I think of you, there's a really clear niche of emotional wellness, and that has many different sub niche trees and many different parts of that. And then there is that high performance A-type driven, like other part. And then there's like this autoimmune mystery illness part.
Yeah. Emotion is a passion of mine. That's what I love.
And the only reason I said this, because there are many coaches who struggle. And that's why I said it, that because they are very similar to you. And there's a lot of coaches who are brain health coaches, or they had concussions, or they are mystery illness, and they are fertility, pregnancy, functional medicine, hormone, PHA. I mean, the list goes on. And they struggle to find their voice. And that's why interviewing you is also really unique, because they've struggled to find a voice, because they feel like either they know too much in a lot of different places, but interviewing you and seeing how you so eloquently do bleed a lot of many different expertise into a very cohesive
model. It's a model.
Yes,
I created a model for myself, and that's how I practice with my model. And to the coaches who are struggling, I will suggest that find your passion and just do everything that you learned so far will fall into that.
I even have a better one. We will do a podcast really on how, and I talk about this a lot. It's not just finding your niche, it's developing your signature process, because each one of those certifications tests, and I know because I've known you for many years, you kept uncovering just another step, and you were like, I'm going to go do this because I want to learn about this. So that process, that signature process, we'll do another podcast on how do you develop your signature process and how did you develop yours. So guys, that's how we close this one out. Not only do you find not only did you have this amazing one and show up in your own authentic way and find your path, but also, as you know, we ended with Dr. Maya's, you know, don't be scared to go after what you want, and don't be scared to show up, because you'll find it, you'll live it, and you'll have your clients calling you in the beginning of a podcast because they'll need you.
And you will have a lot of fun. That's the most important thing. Joy. You'll
have a client like Rachel, who moves from Philadelphia and Googles you and finds you, 10 years ago. And still talks to you.
I know. It's been 10 years.
Maybe I didn't even realize that. 10 years strong. And that is how we'll just end this one. 10 years, because you're on Google, guys. And Rachel Googles you as she's moving down, and she finds an acupuncturist that does 5 elements, because that was the kind of acupuncture that she did up north. And that's how we're closing it down with this one.
Thank you, Rachel. That was amazing.
I will see you guys later. Stay tuned for the next one. Make sure you follow Dr. Maya. She does have amazing newsletters, high value. Hint, hint, guys. That means you do the same. I'll see you guys later. Take care of yourself. Bye, guys.